Yo! Today's video is gonna talk about debt trap, a conspiracy. Well, I mean, sorry to spoil it, but I mean, it is a conspiracy that is used to attack China. Okay, so we're first gonna go through the history of this concept, this conspiracy, and then where it came from, so on, and which not which, like, but then examples of major news organizations and also other organizations, well, other news sites that unfortunately also started to like promote and write and reinforce this conspiracy. And to end with, we will conclude and analyze this concept, this conspiracy, and what the result of it. Okay, so the issue is about bank loans, and when it comes to China, like many other countries, lend out money, and China does this through Chinese banks, and they lend out to people in charge of different projects in other countries. And this is nothing new. It's not unique to China. It's not like most countries do this. But the conspiracy of a so-called debt trap, that is new. And it happened actually in 2017. So it's a relatively new conspiracy. So basically it is a conspiracy, a conspiratorial way of looking at a phenomenon that existed previously without any problems, without any conspiracies. It's a way to describe something that existed in a new, twisted way. Like, suddenly, just what happened? Suddenly, 2017, like, bank loans are debt traps? Only when it comes to China? No, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. So, without evidence or a uniqueness or a specific issue with Chinese loans, suddenly there's a new, well, I mean, not a new thing because it's not new, but it's a new concept of debt traps. I mean, wow, like, people come up with conspiracies every day, like, mostly through America. Like, this also came out of America. Okay, but I mean, like it's a conspiracy. The issue is at its core also, we already said that what the issue was, but the issue is also that it is about a bank loan taken that must be paid back. You can call it like whatever, conspiracy number 500, debt trap, but it's still a bank loan that must be paid back. You can take a bank loan and then, like, I don't know, come up with conspiracies to not pay it back or something like that. It's just insane. Okay. So now that we defined what the issue is, we're going to talk about how it started. The debt trap conspiracy, the relabeling of bank loans from China, starts in 2017, and this term, this phrase, was invented by an Indian conspirator called Brahma Chelaney. And the problem with that he is Indian is that India has an agenda, a motive, a benefit to spread propaganda and false information to make China look negative. Because China and India have border battles in modern history, and they are like neighbor countries with borders, and there are disputes over who owns what on which side of the border between the countries. So Indians cannot be trusted to be objective or honest when they comment about China or issues about China. They cannot be trusted. Like they have motives to lie and to smear China. So I mean it is a conspiracy. Debt trap is a conspiracy. Like it's a lie and it's a conspiracy. Because it came from India, and they have problems with China. So, yeah. Ooh, I have written like descriptive things here that might need to be edited, but we can conclude that this conspiracy of a debt trap and this whole concept started with a conspirator from India that cannot be trusted, that will say dishonest things, that will say anything to lie and conspire to attack China. I mean, it's a lie that came from a conspirator's nonsense, metaphorical shit. And everybody who believes this nonsense, metaphorical shit, and spreads this metaphorical shit, these people dipped their fingers into this metaphorical shit and nonsense, and now they are also covered in this conspiracy, this nonsense, and metaphorical shit. Because it came out of metaphorical shit. I mean, it's just like a conspiracy by an Indian who had motives to lie about China. And by doing this, he just insulted China and all countries that take loans from China, who, run the risk of having loan problems, funds to repay the loan back. And it's unacceptable, it's false information, and it's just creating xenophobia against Asians in America. And it's just it's unacceptable. I mean, I'm just gonna ask this question, that if this person that created this conspiracy, Brahma, did he do something like that with an Indian bank? Did he take out a loan from an Indian bank, refuse to pay it back, and just started screaming debt trap? He just ran through the streets and screamed debt trap and refused to pay back the bank loan. Running through India screaming, I was caught in a Chinese debt trap. I mean, did he get away with not paying back the loan, or did the government come and take his things and snatch his house? Take his house to pay the bank loan back, the loan that he refused to pay back. I mean, what is this? A debt trap? Take out the bank loan and don't pay it back and scream debt trap? I mean, it is a conspiracy, and I mean, he has all the motives to lie and create a conspiracy, you know. So I mean, it's just stupid. But the results are problematic for Asians and China. So I mean, it's just, it's not. It's I mean, let's just say that. I mean, I don't know. Trash. I mean, just pay the loan back to the bank. Like, don't be an idiot. Or the bank will, through the law, take your things, sell them, and get their money back. I mean, Chinese bank will also do that. And it's all legal. Justice. Trying to come with some conspiracy about debt trap. Okay, so that's the background and nonsense that this conspiracy came out of. Okay, but because there's this constant attempt to write negative stories based on nothing and false information against China, many major news organizations rewrote this conspiracy, promoted it, and spread it. Like debt trap was somehow like a new way to call the risk of loan repayment issues or debt default. Suddenly, like loan repayment problems and debt defaults became debt traps. And specifically for China. No, forget all the other forget all other loans from other countries or that people can't pay back. They are not debt traps, but only when it comes to China, it's a debt trap. It's just false information because it's not a different kind of loan. It's not a different kind of loan. Oh yeah, the loan terms are so hidden, they're opaque. Most countries don't want to disclose the loan terms of a big loan that they take out for a big project in their country's infrastructure and so on, because they want to keep the specifics of the loan, the interest and so on, repayment plans or whatever, secret, so that you know, they can like redo it again with other countries, so that like other countries can compare to see like who got a better, you know, deal on the loan and so on and so on. It's not just China. Like most people keep loan things hidden, like normal people too. They don't like spread around like wow, how much interest they had to pay for a loan or whatever. Like no, it's just oh, it's just a conspiracy. But I mean, like the indoctrination of people when it comes to China, and the like negative news stories that are based on nothing and lies and propaganda and conspiracies. People are just ready to attack China and believe like the worst about China. And then suddenly there's a debt trap problem, but there is not. It's a conspiracy based on nothing. It's like, oh, it's just dumb. But I mean, USA can really push conspiracies worldwide, like always ready with a new conspiracy or a new like propaganda situation, like the war that America started against Iraq. That was based on conspiracies. I mean, like just like a world tour of false information that resulted in a war. It's pure evil. It's evil or pure evil. Insanity or pure insanity. Okay, so let's talk about what news organizations that, you know, without evidence and, you know, with the clear conspiracy factor of this conspiracy, started to promote it and refer to it and rewrite it and so on. Oh. Okay. Washington Post wrote in July 2022 that China has a hand in Sri Lanka's economic calamity. That was about the debt. That promoted the idea of the conspiracy of a debt trap. And it was written, yeah. I mean, I just put a link up here and in the video info. Next is the Wall Street Journal. They wrote that China's lending comes under fire as Sri Lankan debt crisis deepens. Also promoting this debt trap conspiracy. Newsweek wrote that many countries at risk of defaulting on debt to China. And the article was written by an Indian, so well, we know what that's about. And then IB Times wrote that, well, I mean, it's a story through AFP News, but I mean, IB Times promoted this story, so the article's name is China Infrastructure Drive Traps Poor Nations with 385 billion hidden debt. IB Times is IB Times is from India. It's a India-based news organization. So yeah, we know what that is. Oh, Fox News. The organization of conspirators and xenophobes of stolen elections wrote that China defends new Silk Road against debt complaints. It's a story from Associated Press, but I mean, Fox, you know, published it. Okay, so I mean, okay, so this, I mean, I would say that most popular news organizations did write about debt traps, like it was a thing. But I mean, oh my God, like, they and then 1,000 low reputation conspiracists joined in the conspiracy. For example, Washington Examiner wrote that how China uses debt trap diplomacy to extend its military reach. And then National Interest wrote that China's era of debt trap diplomacy may pave the way for something sinister. And just, you know, there are like thousands and thousands of these kind of news organizations, websites, and conspirators that, you know, that smear themselves with this conspiracy and promote it. I don't want to actually go through these black people murdering countries and the news organizations. So let's just put it in the video info. Well, I mean, we can deal with Australia. I mean, some people call Australia Austrasistlia because of their history. And oh wow. Okay. Like most, if not all, news organizations in Australia have become like Fox News. And I mean, it's not a coincidence because Fox News was started by Rupert Murdoch, who is from Austrasistlia. But I mean, he's not an original Australian. He's not Aboriginal or a black original Australian. He was just there like through like historical land theft and you know, identity theft, identity of Australian. That I mean, Fox News runs on propaganda and suspicions and xenophobia because I mean it's easy for, you know, it's easy to fool a lot of people with propaganda, xenophobia and racism. So I mean, like news organizations in Australia can just Fox News every day, everywhere. But they're like basically only like 20 million people there over like a large island. That I mean, there's like not many people per square kilometer to like, you know, blast some Fox News into their televisions. But I mean, the amount of China racism, like tinged news and xenophobia and stories that get, you know, produced in Australia, Austrasistlia, is insane. It's like it's just so much, and it's like every day, every minute. That I mean, it's insane, and it's mostly conspiracies and xenophobia and racism. And when you think about Australia and the history, I mean, these so-called Australians genocided completely every original black Australian that lived there first. And now they're standing on the corpses of these black original Australians, shouting and screaming conspiracies against China based on xenophobia, racism, and conspiracies. Like literally standing on their corpses, on the corpses of black people that they genocided completely. It's just psychologically insane. It's psychologically insane. Completely psychologically insane. Like, there are no morals. There is not a moral thing to stand on in Australia, but there are a lot of black original Australian corpses in the ground in Australia, rotting, murdered in a complete genocide. So that they have the psychological damage and the nerve to spread lies and conspiracies about China. I mean, it's just psychologically disturbed, like absolutely psychologically, absolute psychological damage. Okay. The last thing we're going to talk about when it comes to an analysis of the news media that has been promoting and rewriting this conspiracy is that this whole conspiracy is a lie from the beginning to the end. It's a lie. It's just a lie, a conspiracy that loans by China to other countries that were not seen particularly negatively earlier suddenly became a debt trap because of a new conspiracy, a new way of calling something old something new. something conspiracy, that it's just a conspiracy based on nothing. Okay, so but I mean, it's not all bad, because analyzing the articles, the news articles about debt trap that show up in like search results, an article that comes up often is an article from the Atlantic magazine that wrote that the Chinese debt trap is a myth. Okay, so these writers from this magazine, though, which is a high reputation news organization, analyzed what the debt trap concept, conspiracy against China was, and they concluded that it's a myth, it's a lie, it's false information, it's a conspiracy. Well, I said it is that it is a conspiracy, but they just said that it's not true information. I mean, it's not a conspiracy though. So I mean, I don't know how search results work, but the Chinese debt trap is a myth. It came from the Atlantic magazine, so oh my god. I mean, okay. So let's analyze and no, wait, that was the analysis, right? Well, I mean, we can just continue to analyze and conclude some things. Like, first of all, why does America create and believe so many conspiracies? Like, after facts are shown, after like an analysis of facts has been made, and and the conclusion has been made that it is a conspiracy and false information, like so many people still believe this. I mean, it's like the indoctrination of a constant stream of false news stories about China, that, you know, the conspirators, and they just rewrite and re-promote these conspiracies, and it's just, oh god, like, but why? Well, I mean, America was built on slavery of black people and the murder of, oh god, how many black people were murdered in America? Thousands, millions, hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions? Maybe not hundreds of millions, but I mean, who knows? So I mean, like, I mean, conspiracy, denial of the truth is probably like easier to deal with than, you know, the fact that this land was built on black people's corpses, murdered because of racism. I mean, like, okay, let's just, I mean, the conclusion is obvious. It's a conspiracy. Debt trap. The debt trap of China is a conspiracy and false. It's just false information. It began with a lie, and it just continues to be a lie. The other conclusion is the most obvious conclusion. A person takes a bank loan from a bank. The person pays the bank back the loan. Conclusion. But if a person wants to listen to conspirators lie about China and Chinese debt trap and scream through the streets that, I mean, they were caught in a Chinese debt trap, while listening to the other conspirator journalists also screaming that there's a Chinese debt trap, well, you will look like an idiot. That person will look like an idiot. The journalists will look like idiots. And the bank will come for its money by using the law and the legal process. Pay back your money. And I mean, is this originator of this conspiracy and the lie still screaming through the streets of India that, I mean, if you took out a loan and didn't pay it back because of, you know, the debt trap, is it still running through the streets of India screaming debt trap? I mean, he's got a lot of supporters. Are they gonna pay back his loan? Or is the bank gonna come for his house? Because you pay back your bank loan. Ay, ay, ay.